Captain's log. 08 1316. I've been on this strange planet ever since I left the space station several days ago. Still no crew, a crippled ship, and only planets in the distance for company. I can think of little except what's led me here so far. One mysterious beacon, a radio tower in the distance, and the sense that I can't be the only creature in this universe who wants to know what is at its center. The ship in its place, when I landed, seemed to know its own way. Certainly it wasn't because of piloting skill on my part. But I managed to land it in a stable enough position that I could get a vantage point of the surrounding circumstances. I don't yet know if anyone out here will hear these logs, or if they do, what they'll do with them. But I feel compelled to do them nonetheless. Knowledge stones. The strange gateway to another universe of language I can barely understand. Who left them? And why? I managed to cobble enough raw materials on my first planet to repair my ship, enough to get me to the space station, where I looked at several warriors, yelling at me in some strange language. Now I've come here, led by a beacon, which in turn led me to a radio signal. It's life. Actual life, not just animals hopping around or plants here and there. But perhaps life I can actually interact with, talk to, speak to on my own level. Only way to find out is to go there. I'm going to set out for the outpost and see what I discover. I haven't run into anything hostile yet. Then I haven't run into much of anything yet. Nothing anyway that seems to want to have anything to do with me. But my ship seems to know the way, and that's going to have to do the best that I possibly can. In the meantime, I have, with me, a strange set of words appearing on my data screen. It's almost as if there are names and people that are talking to me. I see references to this word GOG, and strange life forms like Memories in 8-bit, and Kilgore Trout, and Pantless Aaron. Why doesn't he have pants? Why is his name Naren? Who can say? Of all of them, though, I hear the name Outstar Walker coming up again and again and again. I don't know if this is a new star, or a strange solar system, or just my hallucination after my crash landing on the previous planet. But I need to find the answers if I'm to discover my way. Captain's log 08 1316. I'm approaching the sign of the radio signals where life signs were supposedly detected. It's a larger civilization here, and I need to track down everything I can about it if I'm to succeed. It's a banner. A rock with a star, perhaps? And this beacon. There, at the center of the radio signal. is this? Signal scanner online. Planetary location beacons are responding. Please select preferred destination. Monolith, Colonial Outpost, transmission and shelter. I wonder if this is a transport beam. Apparently I need more bypass trips. Well, first things first. Let me interact with what I have. Going in. The creature awaiting me has the manner of a warrior, but makes no move to attack. Instead, it grunts in a tongue I do not speak, then passes me a slate. With a start, I realize that I can understand the text on it. In disbelief, I try to catch the creature's eye, but it has already turned away in disinterest. I suspect it is a mere courier, not the author of this message. The slate also contains a blueprint for new technology. A hyperdrive. Instructions on how to build my own path through the stars. This will be invaluable. The warrior thing inspects its weapons, avoiding my gaze, waiting for me to leave. Hyperdrive is a faster-than-light propulsion drive that allows starships to attain warp speed and jump between neighboring systems. To do this, I'll need a dynamic resonator and Heridium. But how to build these things? A new mining beam. Scanner. Better with combat. Better with beam intensifier. And extends the time between cooldown periods. Useful, but too expensive. Before I can do all of that, I'm going to have to sell items from my inventories. Let's see what I've got. Hmm. 242 units. But I have found one strange phenomenon on these planets. If you're careful, you can actually name a planet and get credits that way. Easy money. And so, easy way to get a multi-tool. I read about this city once in an old Earth book. Not sure if anyone will recognize the reference out here, but it's worth a try. And it gets me within 9,000 credits of that new multi-tool.
Orbital station coordinates received.
Well, well. I've now met 2 aliens. More of the Vikings. The pilot looks displeased at my request to open trade negotiations, but then changes its mind. The equipment I carry has impressed it. It makes a series of small barks. Its cargo and ship are ready for inspection. Let's see how much for a spaceship. 386,000 units. I like it. Probably better than my old rig. However, it's expensive, and that's more money that I don't yet have. What it comes down to is, I need to explore. I need money, and I need resources. I seem to have walked quite a bit in this game. On Earth, they used to have people wear wristbands. Tell them how the wristbands would help tell them how far they had traveled. It's kind of funny to think about that now. All we were doing was walking far enough so that we could fly. I've learned the Vy'keen word for ancients. Really do want that multi-tool. I need to build my hyperdrive. But how to do it? Well, to build a hyperdrive, I'll need a dynamic resonator and some Heridium. So, how do I build a dynamic resonator? First, I need a blueprint for a dynamic resonator, I think. Beam impact, advance this, advance that. So I need credits, and I need blueprints for dynamic resonator.
Life support power low.
I also need to recharge my life support system. That, though, I think I can probably manage.
Technology recharge.
Let's see.
Technology recharge.
There we are. All right. Time to record what I've learned. How do I build one of those bypass chips? Ah, easy enough.
Product constructed.
That should allow me to use it. Hopefully I can go to one of these places and get some money. It's the only way I'm going to be able to get that multi-tool that I need. Let me see what's over there. Isotopes and medicine. Seems worth it.
Inventory full.
Ever since I've landed on the planet, I seem to have a difficult time finding places in my suit to keep things. I'll admit to being a little frustrated about this. I thought that I had this all covered when I first left. Fascination bead. Captain's log. Stardate 091316. I've discovered what's called a fascination bead, a kind of strange gold orb. For some reason I seem to be mesmerized by it, even though it has no real practical purpose that I can see. It might increase the processing power of electronic life forms, or so my computer tells me, but I think it just wants me to hold on to something I don't need. Into the ship it goes. Let's see what we can do, starting with the monolith. Alien monolith detected. 657. Might well be worth my time, especially if I can get some money from it. All while this is going on, I continue to see these names, having what seems like strange conversations on my data screen. Who are these people? Do I know a Heimdall plays? Do I understand a Sharian Radek? Do I know what unicorn barf is? Am I going mad? Quite possibly. But of course madness is in the eyes of those around you, without them to judge me. I'm safe to feel as bizarre and strange as I do when looking at what looks like a rabbit thing. I sometimes wonder whether I've totally taken leave of my senses. I've decided to feed it. Seems happy. I've decided to follow it. Perhaps it can show me something with which I can make some money on this planet. Chrysonite. Thank you, creature. There seem to be strange discussions of Tetris going on in chat. First things first, I'm never going to make this if I do it all on foot. It's going to be up to my starship to get me there. And so off to the monolith I go. The monolith summons up images of an old movie, a 20th century Earth movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey, that suggests that I'll see monkeys around here, perhaps. Captain's log. Stardate 081316. I've discovered the strange monolith. I have no idea what awaits me, but I've decided it's my duty to determine what it is. I place my palm on the monolith and stand back when it melts in response to my touch. Molten rock drips down the stone, exposing a hollow interior. Inside, I see riches that are beyond belief. Ancient technologies and cargo that would aid my journey. Lava continues to drop and the edifice seems unstable, but equipment that could aid me is within arm's reach. Suddenly the voice of an ancient tribe shakes the ground I stand on. I decide to stand back. The ancient warriors who once worshipped here bless my show of respect. Health levels rise. Your standing with a Vy'keen is increased. You have learned the Atlas word for awake. And you've gained a Vy'keen effigy. What is a Vy'keen effigy? A small wooden icon carved into the shape of a sentinel drone, used by warriors to enter a temporary trance-like state that eliminates their kind's need for sleep, but more importantly, worth 25,000 units, more than enough to get the multi-tool that I need. I think I may have the answer. I wonder if I talk to the names that are in the chat next to me, if I can talk to the names in that strange conversation to my right, whether they would approve of what I'm doing. Would they even understand what I was saying? Would someone like Cloud Kingdom or Medea J know? Of course, these can't possibly be here. They're communications from a civilization many millions of years from now. Probably long dead, or at least long inaccessible. Yet I feel compelled to talk with them somehow, despite this. What I really need to determine is how to get to the place where I just was. I have no idea where I'm going. Some of the names speak to me directly, as if they know me. Perhaps they did at one time, before I left all this behind and set off on a journey across time and space. If so, I would like to think that I had been friends with them. But now, of course, I find myself exploring the surface of a strange planet. In search of things I didn't realize I would want only a few short hours ago. I wish it were easier to read the map on my own ship, and to have any idea of where I was going. I need to get back to that place I was interacting with the Vy'keen before. But how will anyone tell me how to use my own machine? I wonder if the strange names scrolling in an ever-moving conversation on the right side of my monitor, I wonder if they would know if I asked them. Would it be ridiculous to ask them how to get back to a place that I've been? Would they have any knowledge of it at all? They seem to know something about the world in which I am, as if they've seen other people go through it. But this, of course, is impossible. I found something all right. I don't know if it's the right thing. I guess we'll find out.
Life support power low.
I find my chat making references to frame drops. I'm not sure if such a thing actually exists in modern times, but there is no question that when I have several systems on my ship on at once, it seems to have difficulty keeping up with what happens next.
Inventory full.
He makes reference to a G-Sync. Someone makes references to a strange Earth food that I believe I've heard of before, called a pizza. For some reason, cheese and tomato sauce jumps into my head, but this, of course, seems ridiculous. Someone else makes reference to sync. I think I have heard of something like this, but my understanding has been that VSync makes my computer function more efficiently than without it, and in fact performance drops significantly when it's not on. But perhaps chat, that strange group of people that I've begun to refer to them as, can tell me something different. Memories in 8-bit, though, seems to understand the situation that I'm facing.
No free slots in ship inventory.
I've run into a very difficult position. I now no longer have room either in my ship or with myself. New technology discovered. A faster mining beam process on resource-rich materials. That's nice, but not as nice as that new multi-tool will be if I can ever find my way back to the person who was selling it. Captain's log. The voices in my head, my friends on chat, as I've come to call them, have started to make certain comments about me talking to myself all the time. As if this is all some large, self-aware project of game playing. I need to, of course, avoid this kind of thought process. It's dangerous to one in my position. When one is this far alone, this isolated, anything seems plausible. Reload accelerant sigma. Bolt caster ammunition reload times are decreased. Tendons in the user's upper arm are wired to bolt caster sensors which prime nerve endings with electrical charge while the plasma chip is expended. Operates automatically once constructed within user's multi-tool inventory. Captain's log 081316. I'm beginning to become disturbed by the nature of the technology I'm finding. Some of it seems like it's out of some child's nightmare, robotic things being fused to my human features. I don't want to be a cyborg. That wasn't what I signed up for when I came out here. But maybe I'll be forced into it eventually. Research specimen. My standing with the Vy'keen has increased.
Units received.
I've gained some money. And some health. This was a good little trip to take. However, it's still not what I'm looking for. Captain's log 081316. Ever since I started broadcasting, it seems to me that some of what I see around me seems to appear very suddenly. Grass, bushes appearing out of nowhere, and even when they do appear, seeming strange and not quite complete in some ways. I don't know what to make of this, but it seems like a real phenomenon. The only thing I can do, I suppose, is continue to move on, and do the best I can to discover the place where the multi-tool awaits me. To do that, I need to be able to interpret my own map, but I find myself having difficulty figuring out where I'm going. I'd like to think that my ship knows the way, but then I've often had cause to doubt myself on this trip. I see chat referring to some of the hitches in the gameplay. I can only say that when I wasn't recording my log, things seemed to be much smoother, much easier. But ever since I've begun chatting to my friends, as I've come to call them, things have slowed down significantly. Captain's log 081316. I find myself approaching a strange complex of platforms. Something left by previous inhabitants of this planet, or current ones. Another structure of the Vy'keen, perhaps. Either way, I must explore it. I see ships landing on it. That indicates that there's something going on right now on board that ship. What will I find when I go there? Probably my hopping rabbit friend back there wouldn't even know. But I need to do the best I can to discover.
Inventory full. Inventory full.
Captain's log, 081316. I seem to have discovered a kind of a station, sort of a transit hub. In the old days on 20th century Earth, they would have called it a subway. Exactly the money that I need.
Units received.
56,000. Now I just need to find the person who's got my new multi-tool. I seem to have encountered a journey milestone. Periodically on my journey, I find suddenly my central visor seems to come across like a letterbox, like an old movie. It's impossible, of course, but one never knows.
No free slots in ship inventory.
Sometimes I wonder why inventories can't be more efficient. It seems impossible to believe that a fascination bead could take up so much room that one couldn't stack two of them. But such is this strange experience that I find myself in. The Vy'keen seem to be happy with me. The warrior barks with enthusiasm and prepares to open its cargo hold for inspection. It's open to trade negotiation and the potential sale of its starship. I decide to sell it one of my fascination beads.
Units received.
How much would the ship be? 274,000 units. Not bad, but not substantially better than what I already have. I choose to decline.
Life support power low.
He doesn't seem to mind, though. The name Outstar Walker seems to come up quite a bit on my data screen. I wonder if this was some kind of an ancient god. Or perhaps a creature of great power, of which the people of this planet were deeply frightened. What if I encountered this creature? Would it, he, she, they be friendly to me? I cannot tell. Perhaps if I gave the creature one of my fascination beads. I discovered a piece of lore on another planet that made reference to something called a boyo. I don't know what to make of these boyos, or whether or not the creature would find this a interesting thing to say. But it's something to keep in mind in case I run into it again. I've discovered a trading post, a monolith, and several other alien structures. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. As I think those words, I consider an old 21st century Earth song. Actually, 20th century Earth song. By a band called U2. Not exactly regulation, but it seems appropriate for the circumstances. I still haven't found what I'm looking for, which is the place where I can buy my new multi-tool. How will I discover it? What map would allow me to see it? Captain's log 081316. I seem to have discovered what we call the J.J. Abrams effect. I don't really know exactly what the nature of the phenomenon is, but it seems to involve looking right into a light source and then having it flare to the left and right side of the screen. More research is needed. The truth is that with only my thoughts to keep me company, I can't be sure that I'm going in the right direction at all, or that I'll be able to find my way back there. If only one of my friends, those strange names scrolling on the right side of my screen, could give me suggestions on how to actually use a map on a planet to get somewhere. But I understand that that's probably not possible. It's not as if they're actually interacting with me or hearing me speak right at this moment. But if they were, what would they say? If I could ask them, how do I find a place that I've been? What would they suggest, I wonder? Captain's log 081316. I continue to search for the station that I've been at that will show me the multi-tool. I don't know where I'll be able to find it. Suddenly it occurs to me that perhaps if I check my control system, I might find a clue. My command list says that an M should pull up the map. I thought I tried that before. It doesn't seem to be doing anything now. Captain's log 081316. My friends on chat have been telling me some things about how to discover some places that I've been. And although what they've said is helpful, I'm confused, for I don't see the one place that I've been before that I need to get to, the place with the new multi-tool. There is a trading post, of course, the place that I referred to as a subway, but I don't believe that's the same thing as what I actually need. Will I be forced to simply spin around until the compass at the top of my screen shows me where I need to go? That's really the question. Of course, it's true in the ancient days it was all about landmarks. Perhaps that's what I'm missing. I'm thinking too much like a 26th century captain, and not enough like a 21st century Earth explorer. I will reconsider. Captain's log 081316. I think I may have discovered what I was looking for almost entirely by accident. I don't know if this is the same thing that I saw previously, but if it is, that multi-tool is so close I can almost taste it. Captain's log 081316. I find myself growing inordinately fond of my friends in chat. They seem to be commenting on what's happening, encouraging me, making suggestions. It's impossible, of course, but I can't explain how wonderful it is to feel as if one is not entirely alone in a very, very large universe.
Inventory full. Inventory full. Technology recharge.
Captain's log 081316. I find myself growing increasingly concerned about my inability to find enough inventory space for everything.
Technology recharge.
Time to go to the store, I suppose. Buy items from the Galactic Trade Network. Ah, dynamic resonator, something that I do need. Inventory space, the final frontier. I find my chat making amusing suggestions and comments. Makes my situation feel more real, to be honest. As if they were an important part of this experience. It seems impossible. Anything like that went away a long time ago, when YouTube gaming took over the world. Before then, chat was a much larger piece of the puzzle. But that, of course, was many years ago, and many miles away.
Units received. Units received.
Captain's log 081316. I continue to see strange images popping up in my chat on the right side of my screen. Occasionally it seems to be a female of some kind raising a hand, as if in a greeting gesture. I don't know what to make of this, but more research is clearly required.
Product received.
I wonder whether I'd sold the right things. Certainly the plutonium was worth it, but maybe the thaumium was something I shouldn't have sold. Still, mistakes will clearly be made. Of larger concern is my inability to hold on to anything in my astonishingly small inventory slots. Captain's log, stardate 081316. I seem to have traveled a very far distance indeed. I've had some kind of what we used to call achievements. The truth is I need my ship, and for that, I need to make a bypass chip. However, I'm out of iron. Fortunately, I have iron on my ship. Not so fortunately, the ship is not where I can get to it, which is why I need to build the bypass chip to get the ship here in the first place. I find myself longing for a strange creation of a game from long time ago, a device in the days that we called a bag of holding. According to the lore of this game, such a bag opened up onto another plane of existence. You could drop all your items in, and would feel no heavier than when you started. If only we could do this now, in real life. But sadly, I am left with no options, except to continue flying and try to find the multi-tool that I found in the building some time ago. It seems strange in the 21st century that our ship maps would not have previous records of places we had visited. It seems odd, obscure, as if someone is laughing at us. Captain's log 081316. I can't tell if I've been to this place before. It looks familiar in a way. We're to land and investigate. I find my friends asking me questions. Some questions that I can respond to and others that I can't answer. But one excellent question has to do with the name of my ship. I like it. It seems to fit me, and yet I wish I could make it even more my own. A personalized name. Perhaps the GOG Forum, for example, would exist. Or the Stream Team. Perhaps the Takangia Mobile. Any of these seem as reasonable possibilities. Yet I don't believe that I can rename my ship. Clearly I cannot do so when I cannot even find where I was just at about 45 minutes ago. Captain's log 081316. I've decided the time has come to enter space, to travel to a space station. Entering warp. Captain's log 081316. I have my destination. Now it's time to actually get there. A space station, or perhaps a new multi-tool will await me. Or what I need to build my hyperdrive. I wish that my system were capable of performing better than it has been, but ever since I began broadcasting my mission logs, the game has slowed up. Without these broadcasts, it runs smoothly and beautifully. But when I speak to my friends, as I've come to call them, things slow down considerably. I feel bad about this somehow, as if my friends are watching what I'm doing, and I wish I could fix it for them. But that, of course, is absurd. These are names, not real people, just words and sentences from a time a long time ago in a place very far away. Still, if they did exist, I would apologize to them, and wish that I could do so in a way that they would understand. warrior indicates that it has no current desire to kill me. Captain's Log 081316. All I need is Heridium to finish constructing my hyperdrive. I don't know whether I can buy enough of it from the Galactic Trade Network, or even if they'll have it available. They do actually have it available.
No free slots in suit inventory.
But of course, doing that would make it much easier. That assumes that I actually had any room in my inventory, which naturally I don't. My chat has suggestions for me about the state of things in this universe, and I feel inclined to trust them. I find one of them in particular to be oddly named, and yet strangely comforting. Memories and 8-bit. References to a time long ago when people, even then, were looking back even farther to systems of video games, little lights and sounds on screens that people played and interacted with. It's a pleasure to have these experiences, I must say. It makes me feel less alone in the world.
Item received. Item received. Received.
I've bought as much Heridium as I can possibly hold, but this may not yet be enough. I still need 150 Heridium, and that means I need to go exploring. It's time to go to a planet and discover what I can. Some of the ships in this area are strange and unusual, like the old 20th century biplanes. I'm friendly with the Vy'keen. Perhaps they will have something for me. The warrior runs its hand over its starship and barks, makes it known that it is willing to part with it for the right price. It readies its cargo manifest for inspection. I must admit to being impressed by the number of inventory slots. And there's some other benefits as well. However, not enough for me to want to be able to spend money on this ship. Instead, what I need is to buy items, in particular, Heridium. It does indeed have Heridium. It is fortunate that my friends were able to give me some suggestions. Without them, I might have been wandering for countless years, searching for them in deep and dark places. I am grateful, I find, to my friends in chat. I'm almost halfway there to the amount of Iridium that I need. But not quite. Perhaps I could just wait for other ships to arrive. It seems like I have the money for it. I find my chat being strangely polite, as if they are interacting with me on an almost human level. I find myself entertaining fantasies that somewhere, back on old 21st century Earth, these people, in countries, in continents, in other places unknown to me, are interacting with me at this very moment. Perhaps they find joy and community in this experience. It seems impossible, but then, so did space travel before we were there. Warp drive seemed an impossibility before we were traveling through the stars. Perhaps the idea of friendship and community might be the same thing. Some names seem particularly familiar to me. People who used to do things like crash games and play other ones. Video games that gave them enjoyment and entertainment, and sometimes difficulties, as in moments where they attempted to traverse the entirety of a huge land, perhaps a strange Nordic universe, populated by one single solitary voice actor. I feel like the name of such a person would have been perhaps Activity Boomer, or perhaps Pastime Destroyer, but that can't quite be it. There's got to be some other name that I'm forgetting. I find myself being surprised how many of these aliens are willing to sell their ships. I don't know exactly how they would get along without them. I certainly know I wouldn't be able to get along without mine. Suddenly I see a name in chat that I recognize. Someone responsible for a great deal. In old Earth language, he might have been referred to as Net-O-N. Now it seems almost like a ship call sign. But at the time, such a person, I think, would have been a fine fellow indeed. I find myself inclined to greet these people. Netowin, Game Crashers, Inquisitor of Alkalani, and many others. But again, they cannot possibly be real. These are figments, echoes of my imagination. Still, with no one else to say no, what's the harm, really, in pretending that they exist in reality? I've decided that I'm going to wait just long enough for one more ship to land and see if they have any Iridium. If not, I'll have to go down to the planet's surface and find it on my own. Maybe I'll accidentally stumble into a new... Perhaps I'll accidentally stumble into a new and successful isotope. Maybe I'll stumble into a new and successful planet when I do so. Warrior makes a bark of acceptance to show its willingness to trade. Success! More Iridium has been discovered.
Item received.
I find myself being strangely compelled by this trading experience, and I'm closing in on what I need. $134 Heridium. I need only 66 more. I know that in the old Earth custom, walking away from the place that you actually want something to arrive is the best way to ensure that it will get there. So I go up to discover where the isotope might be, and as I head towards the door, I wait for what I inevitably know will be a new ship arriving. And sure enough, as I enter the door, here comes the new ship now. In fact, there are several ships. Officer Lumada, a good man, or Vy'keen, but will he have the Heridium that I need? He has some.
Item received.
And now, of course, for the ever-present flag-bearer Imhe. Perhaps he has the remaining Heridium that I need. And it does have quite a few of them.
Item received.
I begin to feel more hopeful. I am only 20 Heridium away from being able to build what it is that I need. My hyperdrive to explore strange new world, seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one... Suddenly I find those words seem familiar to me, as if someone else has used them in another place. But it's impossible. I continue to be alone, or at least as alone as one can be when surrounded by Vy'keen. I find myself feeling curious about what my friends in chat think about this experience. Do they appreciate the journey through the stars? Do they like what they've seen from this universe? Do they wish to see more? But whether they will answer is, of course, anyone's guess. Decided to go pick up the isotope that I need. But I can't. It is oh so close, and yet so far. I await the arrival of just one more ship with 20 Heridium that will allow me to make the warp drive that I need. Where will I go? What will I see? What places will I find to occupy my senses? Questions I cannot answer until I actually arrive there. And so I wait, in the hopes that one final ship will come and bring me the Heridium that is required. And even as I think these words, I see a ship appear on the horizon. Flag-bearer Imhe. I've had dealings with him before, but Will he have Heridium for me this time? He does not. I am disappointed, but not entirely surprised. Again, I decide that I will wait for perhaps only one more ship before attempting to take my chances on a planet and explore for the 20 remaining Heridium that I need. I find myself meditating on the nature of what we are. Is our only position to explore the world in this way? Are we all part of some large simulation? Is it possible that we, in our status as strange creatures in a wide galaxy, are being played ourselves? Will I encounter anyone else in this world? Or is this entirely, as might have been said in previous times, a single-player experience only? More questions that I cannot answer. I'm exceedingly close. Only a few Heridium left. I have not met with Sentinel Hunter Takanjo before. Perhaps he will have some Heridium for me. Indeed he does.
Item received.
And I now have what is necessary. I find a strange excitement building within me. Finally, the opportunity to build a warp engine.
Technology installed.
But of course, I must actually charge it with a warp cell. To do so, I need a warp cell. But how do I find these things? A warp cell is required. First, I must learn to build such a warp cell. But where will I discover this? For the answers, we must explore elsewhere. Perhaps I can find something on the outside of the planet. As I interact with my friends from chat, I discover more and more of them expressing interest in having similar experiences. Of course, I cannot blame them. Suddenly, I realize the appeal of asteroid mining. I find myself increasingly amazed at how much faster this is than the I am even more amazed by my phase beam, which obliterates everything in its path. Suddenly the possibilities open up before me. A mining interest. A mining company. I realize that these will be enormously powerful weapons if I ever need them. However, I don't need them right now. What I do need, however, is a new multi-tool. And I know it can be found somewhere on this planet. I find myself in a strange way wishing to please my friends in chat. I find myself almost absurdly anxious that they appreciate what's being done, that they be happy as they are. I cannot say if this will be the case. But as I look in different places, I realize that this game is... I realize that what I do is involved mostly in exploration, not mining interests or anything else. And so I set a course for Hideboda Totoi, a place which I will name differently when I arrive, no doubt. The warp engine. Strange, bizarre experience. A feeling of pulsing in systems. But doing so in a way where nothing around it will hit me. Fortunate as well, for if I were to run into one of these things at this speed, there would be very little left of me to report. And we have arrived. Apparently. An outpost only 2 minutes and 30 seconds away. It occurs to me that what I need to do is to find something new to name this with. I cannot yet do so. Not until, apparently, I've arrived at the outpost. This communication signal may involve what I need. I can only hope it does. And that my friends will understand that any freezes in this broadcast are sadly beyond my control, a function of the extra power being used, both to fly my ship and to broadcast my experiences to people outside. I wish it were not so. I find myself desiring my friends in chat to have the best possible experience that they can. Perhaps, I think, they will understand, despite the technical limitations. This planet seems a great deal of water associated with it. 25 seconds away from the outpost, and whatever awaits me there. Now only 10 seconds from my encountering whatever is there. Another Vy'keen, perhaps. But we will see. I have arrived on Hoth. Suddenly it occurs to me that I must not be the only one who remembers that famous place. And so instead, I will name it after a planet or a place from an old 20th century, 21st century Earth book. Perhaps someone will get the reference.
Received. Extreme night temperature detected. Temperature levels stabilizing.
The being snarls at me when I enter, but I barely have a chance to cower before it looks embarrassed and puts up its hands apologetically. This warrior seems on edge, but was clearly expecting me. As before, it relays a message to me, once again sent by whoever Nada and Polo are. The staccato missive is accompanied by a donation of antimatter from my mysterious benefactors. Enough of it that I can build a warp cell for my hyperdrive. I am no wiser as to who Nada and Pola are, but I now have the means to locate them. Though I strongly suspect that I must choose between finding them and following this atlas. Suddenly I discover that I have found the long-lost, highly desired multi-tool. I still do not have enough money for it yet, but that will change. To do this, though, I must sell some things first. Fortunately, a galactic trade terminal stands nearby. It occurs to me that my friends might want to know where they can experience a journey of this type, and I can tell them only that there was a time, in the distant past, when such journeys were available to them, through a platform known as Twitch, and that journeys could be experienced themselves if they went to a place known as GOG.com. It seems ridiculous, but perhaps wherever they are, it may be helpful to them.
Received.
I realize that although this is rare, I find myself desperately desiring to get the new multi-tool.
Units received. Units received.
If only my ship were nearby. I realize I must find and bring my ship back.
Life support power low.
I realize I must get to my ship and land it near this place. I am determined to get the new multi-tool.
Product constructed.
I have built a warp cell
Technology recharge.
and have recharged my hyperdrive. I plan only to go close enough I find a new journey milestone has been mined. Again, the strange letterboxing effect. But I have enabled galactic travel. I will deal with that momentarily, but not before I am able to sell what I need to get the new multi-tool.
Units received.
I decide to accept the new multi-tool. I find great success in the multi-tool. I have discovered what I needed. The new multi-tool is mine. I find myself being stunned by its amazing qualities. I build a Boltcaster into it. I build an analysis visor into it.
Technology installed.
Suddenly I find that I can do whatever I wish. I have incredible power, incredible abilities, all thanks to my multi-tool. Now I have what I need. I find myself desperate to celebrate. Would my chat understand if they knew how excited I was to have a new multi-tool? Would they celebrate? If I asked them to, would they put strange pictures and images of people jumping up and down, people cheering, people using the old 21st century word hype? Would they know what all of that meant? I must hope that they would. Suddenly I see something awesome, but I do not know how to fix it. I am analyzing something new.
Units received.
Suddenly I have discovered my first animal, an adult age, an exotic gender, ambulatory temperament, vegetation diet. I cannot describe the excitement that this creates in me. I have found something unique and new. It is this. Exotic ambulatory diet with vegetation. It seems to have the back legs of a deer, the front legs of a rhino. It therefore must clearly be known as a rhino deer.
Units received.
suddenly realize I have fired at it completely by accident. I apologize unreservedly for my accident.
Thermal protection falling. Units received.
This is a cautious temperament, exotic gender with a herbivore dire. It is true that I forgot some aspects of it. Mostly what I like is the fact that I am able to describe different things in different ways. Here we have what is called initially an Egatumpus mometsi. It has the front legs of a mantis, and the dinosaur and a tail of a Tyrannosaurus rex. Therefore, it must clearly be known as a Manticore rex.
Units received.
I suddenly realized the danger in wandering around a planet, naming everything I can possibly find. Something which I would find entertaining, but which perhaps my friends in chat would not. It is so strange how now I find myself considering their needs as well as my own. It is as if we have an entire group of people along with us, and not simply myself. I find myself marveling at the speed with which I can collect things. Suddenly, the universe seems wide open, and I realize that we cannot conclude my broadcast without having a chance to warp to another system entirely. But first, just a few more items to achieve here.
Protection falling.
Some Thalmian, for example.
Inventory full.
I find certain members of chat seeming to cheer in excitement, and I am pleased. I feel grateful that they seem to have appreciated what I've attempted to do. My first animal scanned, the rhino deer. I find myself wishing to feed it, but do not have the carbon necessary.
Thermal protection falling.
I realize that I must get back to my ship before my thermal protection runs out. Then I will feed the friendly creature, and then travel elsewhere. Now I find myself prepared to feed this creature. It seems pleased. The rhino deer waits, and it seems to want me to follow it. It has found something for me, but what?
Inventory full.
I don't know, because as usual, my inventory is full. Titanium, a most valuable metal. I thank the rhino deer for his help. Upon closer examination, it looks vaguely like a squirrel. Perhaps a rhino squirrel deer would have been a better thing to call it. But, alas, there is no opportunity to do that now. I am pleased that I have made some positive effect with the locals. Only time for one more quick journey to search for anything I did not see before.
Inventory full. Life support power low.
A Gek charm.
Inventory full. Inventory full. Thermal protection falling.
I realize that I can find nothing more here for now. The time has come for me to leave this system behind. My destiny lies in the stars, and there I will discover it. I prepare to leave the planet. Pulse my way out of the Platinus atmosphere. And now the time has come to warp elsewhere. Here I am in Clune, but other places await. For example, Arbiter Einsa. The time has come. I take a moment, I look around me, all seems in readiness, and I glance over at my friends, the ones who have accompanied me for these last almost 2 hours, and ask if they are ready to travel with me, first star to the left, and straight on till morning. Will they answer me when I ask, I wonder? Will they say that they wish to warp to new worlds, strange new civilizations? I can only wait and hope. For a moment, time seems to be suspended like a fly in amber. Finally, some creature called a flaming fox says that it will engage. I prepare. Warp Factor 5. We have arrived. Suddenly I see a group of ships floating in. Captain's log. Stardate 081316. I need more warp cells. I need antimatter formula, antimatter and warp cells before anything. I need to know what this is that I'm looking at. They are containers which could be destroyed, but I imagine that destroying them would attract attention from creatures that I do not wish. And so instead, I must find other things. For example, moons. I recognize that my friends in chat mean well, but they may not realize that there is a certain requirement for all starship captains to say, "I found myself." It is a part of what we do. I also find myself having entered a strange new place. With green and red, it is a moon of a larger planet, apparently. And yet here I am. decide that I will set forth on this one strange place
Navigational data received.
at a manufacturing facility. The verdant moon, weathered drizzle, minimal sentinels, no flora and sporadic fauna.
Inventory full.
Perhaps the last place I will be able to go on this broadcast. I have discovered a new species. What are they, I wonder? Before I ask. I find this not as impressive a multi-tool as the one that I already have. I find myself engaging in the old original concept of looting.
Inventory full. No free slots in ship inventory.
I find myself looking for a galactic terminal so I can sell this thing so I have some room to talk to this person. And then, of course, must give way.
Units received.
Done. Current Korvax standing, irrelevance. As I approach the electronic life form, it instinctively starts to analyze me from head to foot. It chitters animatedly, its head tilted to one side. The more it studies, the more the facility's resource vault consumes what my scanners suggest are silicate elements. I mime that I know little of its kind or how it communicates, and the lights in its mask flash. Sadly, I do not have what is necessary, but I will return. But for now, I must return to my ship. And give way. Somehow I know there will be other explorers after me. Perhaps someone in the distant future, someone who wears no pants, will be the next intrepid explorer to discover this area. I cannot say. I can speak only for myself. And for myself, I must say that this has been a glorious journey. I sigh and take one more look around at my friends in the right side that have been with me for the last 2 hours. I ask them, if they explore the galaxy, may they have the joy and fun that I have had. And I remind them that there may be other times we will encounter each other. Perhaps in a distant Earth-like planet, we might encounter each other again this evening on one's own channel, or if not, could encounter each other in a strange place known as Pen and Pixels on the GOGcom channel on Tuesday afternoons. But whether or not that can be found, whether or not they would understand me, I feel grateful to them. Captain's Log, Stardate 081316. Godspeed, and may you enjoy your journeys through the land beyond. It is not for everyone, for indeed this is, and finally, no man's sky.
I'm searching though I don't know